We're live.
All right.
It says so right
Hey
there.
there. We're live everywhere now. All right. Hey, everybody. How are you?
Happy. What day is today?
It's Tuesday.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's every day is like Groundhog Day around here, but that's okay. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
So today, Jason, I think we should talk about how everybody's feeling. We're going to talk about our feelings.
I can hardly
Okay.
wait.
Hang in
I
there with
love I love feelings. They're always so exciting.
hang in there with me though. We're not going to get like touchy feely, but let's be real. Oh, stop it. Let's be real. Uh, there's a lot of crazy feelings right now around the real estate industry,
Mhm.
right? It's kind of an unprecedented market. We've been doing this over 25 years, and we certainly haven't seen anything like this before. We're kind of taking bits and pieces of all these different markets we've been a part of in order to kind of digest what's going on today. But so many people, whether you're a realtor, a buyer, a seller, or a loan officer like me, or
Mhm.
anywhere around the real estate industry, we're a little bit afraid. We're kind of unsure, worried, fearful, anxious. Those kinds of emotions are being felt by a lot of people right now. And I think we can really help our peers with 5 questions that they can ask when they start feeling this way or when they're helping someone who's feeling this way. And in all honesty, babe, you could apply these questions to any
I totally
situation.
agree. I was just getting ready to say, like, I don't think that this is just a
Real
real
estate
estate thing. This
conversation,
is
right?
this is really this is a parenting conversation. This is a adulting marriage conversation. It's everything. Hey,
Yep.
before we go any further, can we make sure our microphones are working on? Yep, mine's green. Is yours green?
Green.
Okay.
All right. All systems go.
Yeah, all right. I don't
Whoa!
know why I happened to think of that.
Our fancy technology. You
Yeah, I
can't
know.
bump the
Our
table.
picnic table's a little off today. We're sitting at a
So
slope.
so let's get started.
Okay.
So again, if you're in the real estate business, you can follow along with a lot of the examples, but if you're not, stay with us because I think this will help you too. All right, so what's the first question that we could ask in this kind of situation? Are you going to let me drive?
Yes.
Okay. What does this mean? Right? Because the meaning that you give a situation will create the emotions that you feel. And so, you can go through the exact same experience as someone else and it means something completely different to you. And a lot of that comes from childhood, right? From our childhood and those memories and how, how our parents shaped that. But a great example is, how do you feel when a client chooses another agent? I had somebody choose another loan officer a couple months ago. And you know what? I was okay with it. Like, I really felt like I was being protected from something. I didn't let my ego get in the way and get all ticked off about it. Not that that's ever, not that that's how I've always handled this situation, but that's how I handled it. And it was really cool. Today, I learned that that buyer had to back out of the contract after almost 2 months. And so I was protected from something. How cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would have done all kinds of work and spent hundreds, maybe even close to $1,000 on the services needed for that loan for it to never close. And I may have had to eat that and never made a dollar. So, when a situation happens, what meaning are you giving to it?
Well, I can remember, out showing clients properties and, we'd find the house, they would fall in love with it, and then they didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember always saying, like, just so you know, your name is on the mailbox for the property you're supposed to have. It's just not that this just wasn't it. And then sometimes tears were involved.
Every single time, though.
Turn around, come back, better house, better price,
right.
better neighborhood, better in so many ways. And that played out so many times. I was so confident giving that advice. The first few times I'm like, I'm crying with you. I'm really sorry that it didn't work out too, and then I realized, like, it just wasn't meant to be.
Right.
And I think the greatest question or statement that I've learned around this topic is it didn't happen to me, it happened for me.
That's right.
And when you can adopt that, because look, you guys, crazy stuff happens all the time to all of us. And like I said, this applies to life. This isn't just in the real estate mortgage business. This is life.
Right.
And I can look back at so many times and things that we thought were just catastrophic. And we look back now and we're like, I'm so happy that that happened for us, not to us. And when you just change that one word, it all changes.
It sure does.
Your mindset changes around all of it. You know how much I love mindset, gratitude.
We spend a lot of time on that.
We don't have to go down that path. Maybe we'll make that another topic someday.
We'll add it to the list. All right. So question number 2 is, who or what am I paying attention to? So when you find yourself getting stressful, anxious, worried, and just completely unnerved, who or what are you paying attention to? Is that serving you? Is that the right voice? Right?
Well, and look, social media has changed that completely. You know, what you see is the very best snippet of somebody's very best life. And, you know, I think for us, we have to be really careful, and we try to be as authentic as everything that we put out. Some days for us, like, it just sucks. Everybody thinks we live on vacation. And the truth of the matter is we're sitting crooked at a picnic table right now outside making this video. And it's that's real life. And we've done our very best to be authentic about that. But you have to be really careful about who you're listening to. And the other part of that is who you're listening to in the industry. Because you can talk to people and they're, you know, sky is falling, chicken little. And I think that this is probably one of the greatest opportunities for a real estate agent to grow a business. Not that you're going to grow a bunch of transactions right now, but you're going to plant some great gardens, water your crops, fertilize your crops, weed your crops. And I think it's true as far as a home buyer or home seller. There's great opportunities to be had right now if you can just navigate getting from A to B. And then once you do, it's going to be lights out.
Yeah. And really, when you are choosing who or what you're listening to, I want you to focus on what you have and not what you lack. Because again, going back to the gratitude exercise, right? If we're focused on what we have instead of what we lack, you know, what we focus on will be magnified. And so what we have or what we want to have happen, and then putting some action behind those thoughts, that's the best place to be on this one.
Have you ever noticed that a lot of times you do something out of a fear of something happening and you create it to happen? The very thing you were afraid of happening, you create it to happen. That's because what you focus on expands. That's when you're focused on it not happening for some crazy reason in the world, it happens.
Right. And the other day we were doing something and our son said, like, Mom, don't fall. And I'm like, no, you're never supposed to say that. You could say, be careful, or hey, you're doing a great job with whatever you're doing, but don't tell somebody not to do something, because that's exactly what happens.
Kind of like with our kids. Don't touch that. Don't touch that. I fall in that category. Linda's had to learn to re-engineer how she talks to me because it's lots of, don't do that. Oh, really?
Yeah, this applies at home a lot more than maybe at work. All right, so question 3. And you say this a lot when you're coaching real estate agents during the week and they're saying, Jason, I have a client, I have this situation, I don't know how to handle it, or they're freaking out about this. I have heard you say this probably every week of our life. Will it matter in 5 years? Will it matter in 10 years?
Today.
I know. So I'll be quiet. You tell us what that means.
You're dealing with something today that seems so big. And I'm not saying that it's not big. Lots of people are dealing with lots of big things in their lives, you know, but the truth of the matter is very few of those things will have significant impact in your life in 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's when you're in the middle of it, you know, sometimes you can't see it all, you know, the old saying that you can't see the forest for the trees. And I think that the truth of the matter is very few things that you're doing today are going to have a significant impact in your life in 5 years. Now, with that being said, I think the compounding effect of doing something today over and over and over and over again for 5 years will have a monstrosity of an impact in your life. Right. But doing one activity today and expecting it to have a negative impact in your life, unless it was something like stupid that you shouldn't have done, jumping off a cliff or, you know, something like that, an accident, but an intentional move today will have very little impact in moving the needle in your life in 5 years.
Well, and so there's two slightly different conversations here, right? If you're an agent and you're in the real estate business, the activities that you are doing today, if you're trying to create good habits and good systems like what we have on our Route 66 form, that's where you can say, will what I'm doing today matter in 5 years, right? To your point,
Mm-hmm.
Are you chasing a shiny object just to kill time, or are you doing the right activities that's going to build your business? But in those situations where you're advising clients, the question to them is, okay, so it's a $800,000 purchase price and you're $5,000 apart. Is that going to matter in 5 years,
right.
Mr. Buyer or Seller? Like, is it? It's not, right? On that deal, it's just not, right?
Can I just sidebar this real quick? So you guys, you have to understand something, and this is for everybody. The number one reason that a deal doesn't happen, aside from being able to come to agreement on price, is principle. And people get so they fatigued, and they're just like, never mind, and they quit, and they and understanding that you're always going to lose a little will help you so much. And I think it's true even like with parenting, like we're not going to win every battle, right? So understanding like where we're going to pick those battles, right? And I've done a horrible job. I've picked a lot of battles I shouldn't have picked in parenting and whatnot. But understanding that principle is such a driving force for people, more so today than ever.
So
right?
you perfectly teed me up. I had no idea you were going to say that.
I knew what you wanted to say next.
We've been married so long, you can read my mind.
Uh-huh.
No, but it perfectly tees us up for the next question. So I want to tie it in so you can keep going with it. But you've got to ask yourself, what can I control here?
Mm-hmm.
And what can't I control? Right? And in asking that question, if you look for one thing that you can do to move the needle, to change the situation, then that's probably your answer of what you can control, right? And it'll show you all the other things that you can't and you shouldn't worry about. And like you said, sometimes it's not about winning the war, it's just winning that battle, right? If we just have to take it one step at a time. And I'm notorious for seeing this huge picture and forgetting just to take these little victories along the path. I feel like I got to, eat the whole elephant in one bite, right?
Did we have that conversation earlier too?
Yeah. Well, these live streams are never for other people. It's always for us.
We just happened to turn the camera on. I think it was 1 hour and 15 minutes ago. I'm like, you're doing a phenomenal job. You are crushing what you're doing, and you could not stop. You could not forget to stop and celebrate.
Yeah, it's true.
All the progress you've made. Just because we haven't finished everything, we have certainly created a lot.
So I'm going to recap the 4 questions, okay? Because the last one really ties it all together. So the first one is, what does this mean, right? Because meaning we give to this stressful, negative situation as we're looking at it, whatever meaning we give to it is the emotion that we're going to create inside us and inside the other people that we're bringing along on this journey. So be mindful of that. And then who or what are you paying attention to, and are focusing on what you lack or what you have? So that was the second one. The third was, will it matter in 5 years, 10 years? If you're talking to your future self, I listened to somebody I really like this morning, and he said, I have conversations with I know I got to fly. It's all right. He says, I have a conversation with my 80-year-old self all the time. And he even gave him a name, like he has a little nickname for his 80-year-old self. And, that's a beautiful way to simplify this and look and see if it's really going to be impactful what you're doing today, if it's going to matter in 5 years. And then what we just talked about was, can I control it? Is it out of my control? And is there one thing that I could do to just move the needle a little bit, right? But at the end of the day, when you're looking at a situation that's really got you all knotted up, the biggest and really best question that you can ask is, what's the worst thing that can happen? Really, what's the worst thing that can happen? And start writing, get out a piece of paper and write that down. Because if you leave it in your head, oh boy, the things that grow and manifest and become monsters in our head, when you put them down on a piece of paper, guys, it just takes the power from it.
Yeah.
It just becomes pen on paper, and you can start making a pros and con list, or here's how I'm going to tackle this, or here's who I need to ask for help, or oh my gosh, that is so silly. That is not going to happen. This worst case scenario that I'm dreamt up in my mind is not at all going to happen. Or if it did happen, it would be so minute. And you know what? I've been through worse. I'll get through it too. So that's just such a great question.
Well, and the truth of the matter is, you have to be honest, like, what is the worst thing that can happen? What is I mean, I want you to think of the worst thing that could happen. And then you ask yourself, if that were to happen, how would it, how would it alter, or would it alter my life? And the answer 9 times out of 10 is it wouldn't.
Well, and what's the chance of it really happening?
Yeah, that's
exactly like that, because, okay, so your client gets upset with you and fires you, right? Okay, so you don't have that client anymore. You're not going to make a commission. Maybe you have a burnt bridge there. They might bad talk you a little bit. Does it mean you're the worst realtor in the world and your business is over and you're never going to get another deal? No. That is not, that's the worst case thing you're thinking. You're thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to tell the whole world and everybody's going to jump on their bandwagon. That's just not going to happen.
And it could happen, but it won't happen to the level that it feels
your
like
career isn't over.
That's right.
You're still a great person. And more times than not, those situations are because you told the truth and counseled somebody in a way that was really probably appropriate, but their stress was just so high that they didn't want to hear it. And so again, that go back to question 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Who are you listening to? Where are you getting your information? All of those other questions. Yeah. So if you'll use these 5 questions hand in hand, it will help you tremendously in kinds of situations. And if you get stuck, we're here to help. We have a really awesome Route 66 form for realtors that'll give you the daily habits that you need to do in order to have a successful business in 5 years. Right. It will matter in 5 years if you do or don't do these activities. So you can reach out to us and we'll send that to you for free. That's our gift to the industry. We are also available for private calls, group calls. We do coaching throughout the week. So
we have so much resources. Our heart is just to help anybody we can help, whether it's on the real estate side, the mortgage side, the homeowner side, friend side.
We've done this a long time.
Like we were giving the people to us homeschooling advice. Like we're just full of advice. Just ask us.
I don't know that that's how you should end our time together. No, but we have been real estate investors. We've owned dozens and dozens of homes over the years. So we've been our own best and worst clients, and then we've helped, I don't know,
a lot.
Thousands of people in our careers on both sides of the fence. So that's what we're here for. That's what we feel that our message is at this point in life. So let us know how we can help you, and we hope you have an awesome day.
Take care. Thank you for being here.